Hoo-wee, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. So I'm sitting here, rocking the Celtics garb. But not only that, I'm wearing my D-Bad logo Converse, right? And so I'm chilling out with the D-Bads and I'm like, well, I can't just wear the logo. I gotta be the logo. So I started thinking, maybe it's time I addressed this guy right here. The Cold Steel 1917 Frontier Bowie. Now, I've mentioned a lot of times, plenty of times, first of all, how much I love the knife. Love it so much I was putting it in upside down. How much I love the knife and how the only thing that I would have done different is in here, right? And maybe true full tang to where the top was exposed and this and that. And people keep saying, you know, why don't you do that in 1917? Well, if, you know, you got to rehandle it. Everybody's telling me. And I was outside just a little while ago. I did a little cutting video with my Big Jim Bowie, the D-Bad Big Jim, my Musso. Instantly, this is my absolute 100% forever favorite new knife. I can't describe to you how much I love this thing. I have a hard time putting it away. As a matter of fact, while it's out, let's give it a little side-by-side. Since a lot of people have the 1917. 1917 isn't exactly a small knife. But next to the Musso, and remember that this Musso, spec-wise, is the same parameters as the original. 20 long with a 14-inch blade. So this right here, when you hold it in your hand and you look at from this point, since this point, I changed. It used to, the original kind of sweeps up and it goes with the sweep of the spine, but it's kind of an annoying hold. And it just wasn't contoured right. So I changed, plus the fact that it's true full tang and pinned, but I changed just the handle, but same exact length. From here to here, aside from coloration, this would be brass and not welded on. Mine is steel and welded on. And this would be polished, but not really nicely polished. From there to there, that's what Jim Bowie looked at when he held it in his hands. You know what I mean? That same exact, it's got the same sweep in the spine. It's the same distance from spine guard to your sweep. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. But we're not talking about this right now, even though I can't stop playing with it, and that's all I talk about right now. We're talking about this. So I have a piece of missing something. It was sitting right next to me. You know, I have that 300-year-old sycamore tree outside, and I had a branch come down through one of the storms. You can see this little crack right here. It only goes to right there. So really it wouldn't be that much of a nuisance, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to rip this piece at the crack so I have two really good solid pieces. Then I'm going to make a new handle for the 1917 Bowie, and hopefully it will all work out good. So I will have a piece of 300-year-old sycamore rocking this bad boy right here, which I think will be cool. It all depends really on what I feel in the tang once I take this off. So let me get busy. All right, boys and girls, so this is what it looks like without this on there. And now this is the only concern on the entire knife as far as breakage, like something to go wrong. You can worry about pressure cracking this spine, but because it screws on both sides, that was never really a true concern for me. It just came down to this profiling right here. Now, my big thing was because of that top strap, this is off center and it's pushed down. So, and the fact that it's not a true full tang, it was a full tang with a hidden spine, it doesn't give you exactly a ton of real estate. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if I round out the scales maybe a little bit or just make them a little bit thicker, then it'll fill more hand and do pretty good. And I think I'm just going to take away all these hard edges and make this really nice and smooth to give it a much happier grip on the hand, right? So I'm going to reutilize the Chicago screws that come on it and just reshape that. So let's see. First I have to make some scales out of this piece of wood. Let's get to that. All right, so first things first, I want to try and get this as level as possible. So what I'm going to do is press this against a square piece and just trim the edge. I could probably raise the blade first. What do you think? So that's nice and flat. That's a good start. Now what I need to do, anybody want this? Now what I need to do is grip it. So I just have to find myself a good center around that line. And then grip. You're supposed to turn it off, so you don't kill yourself. But I mean, I've done it before. I'll die again. Not too bad. So now I have two halves, and with these two halves like this, now I can put it up against the guard and shave down boop, boop, some parts like that. So I will have two even pieces, right? That's the object. So now I have to think of how wide I want to start, and I'm not using any crazy measurements. I'm just going by eye, and I will be shaping these, so some will be coming off. So you know what I can do too is get it down more to length. Let's see. I already marked where the end of the tang is going to be, so I'm going to cut off that so I have just less material I have to work through on the rib. That is one knife scale right there. Got to do the same thing on the other side, and I am good to go. Ta-da! So now I have two perfect knife scales. So they'll come down because that's going to be big, but they're also going to be coming down into shape. So these are going to work out pretty darn well, if you ask me. We got scales, baby! All right, so a little test fit. They are absolutely perfect. They're going to be right on. So now what I'm going to do is, oh, and you notice on the inside right there it says cold steel. That's the only place it says anything on this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is take one of the scales, put it on there, and then I'm going to take a marker, and I'm just going to trace out what I want. Now what I'm going to do is, I want, instead of going center like this and then I have to cut away from both sides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring one edge all the way up to the edge of the steel, and that just means less I have to do later, right? It's just going to be sanding and not cutting, and I'd rather that. All right, so I got it all lined up, and it's pretty much that easy. So once I cut one pretty close, then I can cut the other off of that, right? So it's really not that hard, right? Pretty much anybody can do this. So what I'm going to do is take this back to the saw. I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut that, and cut that, and then I will have an individual scale. Then I'll trace that onto here, and I will have two scales. So I'm going to bring this with me, and I'll be back. All right, so I made two scales. I did screw up and I actually cut into them, but it's okay because they're going to be all sanded, and any gaps I can just fill. So I'm not really worried about that. But I do have two scales that are going to, obviously they're a little tiny bit oversized right now, but you can see where that's going to be. Now I have to figure out how much of this I'm going to cut off. And then I have to obviously bring these down to actual girth because it's just a little over, but that'll be sanded. Let's see, where's my trusty dusty marker? And using this marker, I will be able to give myself an idea on depth for sanding. So that will be perfect, because I might, who knows, I might just take the scales and begin the sanding, not on the knife. I might just tape them together so it'll look like this, just two pieces taped together, and then start to sand. But what I'm going to do is I want to draw out my contouring, right? I want to draw out the areas where I want, like, you know, my hand to fit in. So I know that I want some curvature where the fingers go. So it's not going to be cut out, but it's going to be cut down, right? So I'm going to do a cut here, make that a little bit bigger, and I'll show you what I'm doing. And then I'm going to cut it all the way from this spot, and it's going to be down. So you see this line to that line, all that's going to be sanded down, right? And then I'm thinking I don't need all this excess, and the hole doesn't go that far. So what I'm thinking is just bringing this point and taking off a whole lot of that end that I don't need. So that's going to be grinded. So I think I'm going to grind all that steel down, make the handle a little bit shorter, and create even better balance in the piece. It's going to be nice. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm thinking as I'm going through, I might want a JB weld. So therefore I might not need the Chicago screws. I might pin it. Got a little thinking to do. If not, what I have to do is, for the Chicago screws, is I'll have to drill one hole that's the size of this, and then drill just a little beep beep, a little top just for this to sit in, a little recessed area, so that could sit in. But I'm not sure if I want to do that yet. So I got some inner dinner homework to do. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is just tape these together and start sanding. And then I have to hand file, and it's going to take forever. And once I get it down to just a little bit, I mean a little bit of how I want it, I'll put it back on there and do that. What I could do is, I'll show you a little, if you guys plan on putting scales on your knife. I already know that the spine is going to pretty much line up. So all I want to do is get this as straight as possible, right, to how I'm going to have it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my drill holes. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, I will put it on the knife so I can do some exact sanding. Make sure all that's straight. And it is. Make sure this goes through there, and it does. 1, 2. So once I have my holes marked, I can begin drilling. And so I'll already have my 3 holes. Then I take this, put it with the other one, and drill straight through. That way they are 100% even. And who knows, I might drill first and then do that way. So I got a lot going. I'm gonna make a steak right now. I'm gonna come back to this video. I'll probably finish it tomorrow. Okay, I couldn't help myself. So what I did is I ate my steak and then was like, you know what, I still want to work on it. So I pinned it with some wooden pins from the same tree that this came off of. I just took some twigs, right? And I was thinking I might keep those as my pins. And you think, oh, it's a wooden pin, well, that'll make it weaker. But not really, because if you're mixing JB Weld and you saturate these things in JB Weld, they become like cement anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So what I'm thinking is leaving these in here like this, going downstairs, and begin my sanding straight on here. And I'm going to grind away a little bit of there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'll show you. I'm going to take some athletic tape, and I'm just going to make 2 strips. Then I'm going to hold it down, and I will sand with those on there and try to sand around them the best I can, and then just grind them right off. So I just want to be able to hold it while I get the initial carve in going, you know. So that's what I want to do. So I'm going to wrap one side around like right here that you guys can't see, like that, and then I'll do another one in between the other 2 right here. So now that that's on there nice and tight, and these aren't wiggling, now I can really especially attack this end and then start to really mold it. So this is where I'll be starting. And I can say, even though it's going to be off-centered, I think it might still be pretty cool. I think it might be pretty cool, y'all. So we're about to go down and find out. All right, so I got a rough belt on here, and that's going to be to form some of this metal in the rear and see if I can't take some of it off. So let's see what we have here. I'm already down the metal there. And I have my line, how far I want to go. So now I'm going to start to carve this thing out a little bit. So you can see I'm already grinding away the end of the tang. Alright, so I'm going to start to round it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's in. Alright, just give you all a look at what's going on. You can see how the pins are all going to be like that. It's obviously not glued yet, but I came through all the way to the tang on this side, tang on that side. This is basically the shape that it's going to be. Now it just needs some contouring. But all in all, I think this one's going to turn out pretty sweet, especially once I stain it. You know, I brought down the wood all the way flush to the guard. I think this is going to be pretty nice. I'm liking the way this is going to turn out. Now I do have a little cut right there and a little cut right there, but that's nothing. I can either take some sawdust and wood glue or just use some wood filler. I'm pretty sure I got something sitting around here, but that's it. That's gonna be pretty a-okay. Hold on. All right, so hold on. This is going to be the final size of the grip, and I have to say, it feels really nice. Feels really nice. So what I have left to do now, I'm done with the belt. Now I have to hand sand. Man, I have to hand sand and file. And I'm gonna do all my file work. Let's see. To give in like the finger grooves and whatnot, and you know, when you don't lose your files. But so basically it's just going to be a whole lot of this, getting it to the point where I need it to be, and then it's going to be using fine sandpaper to get the rest of it going. But I am going to be doing a lot of this. Oh, I had the other files I was looking for right in front of me. Idiot! So I don't know where my half round is, but that's what I need. That's what I'm going to be doing. So it's going to be doing a whole lot of that. But so far, this thing's coming out pretty cool, man. It's coming out pretty darn cool. All right, hold on now. All right, so now that I got to this point, it's contoured all the way around, but it's not finished smooth. You can see it's just really, really nice looking, but not done. So what I need to do is disassemble, and that's as simple as just giving it a little bit of wiggle and separating the pins from the scale. But what I want to do is I want to leave half on, and I'm going to go ahead and just dust it off, JB weld one side, stick it on with the pins, JB weld the pins all up, then wiggle and take off the other side. Then what I can do is just make the pins go in and out of the holes so JB weld gets in there. But you can see where my little stick pins are going to be. It's going to hold in really good. The JB weld is going to hold this in solid. It's just going to lock it in. So I'm not really worried about anything there. You can see no more square tang. It's completely rounded. It's so much better. But all in all, even before it's finished, it's contouring. It's pretty comfortable. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now I just have to get off all the sawdust so the JB weld can stick to this tang, and mix my JB weld, and that's it. Put it on there. So you'll see it. What I'll do is I'll JB weld it. Who knows? Maybe I'll film, and then I'm going to, it's like 5-hour stuff, but if it doesn't cure for full 24 hours, yeah, I wouldn't trust it. I let it cure for a full day, sometimes even longer, depending. But these homemade sycamore scales are working out pretty darn good. Hold on. All right, so I have completed that section. I didn't want to get glue on my shirt. It's Brooks Brothers. So what I did is I took the tape, ripped it again, pulled it. Now it's coated. The whole thing is coated with JB weld. But D-Bad, that means your tape is going to stick to the JB weld. Yeah, but I still have some sanding to do. So what I will do is when I'm sanding, I will just sand off the tape. That is not a problem. Remember, if you get a little bit of like glue or whatever on your steel, wipe it off. It doesn't matter. If you want, you can let it harden, and then you can just chisel it off, chip it off. But this thing is actually a lot nicer looking like that. Couldn't find it. Than it was with this. I mean, look at the difference in just the shape And then just the fit, you know what I mean? Like the style of blade should fit a style of handle, right? That style of blade fits that style of handle. Nice bird's beak. And I'm thinking of filling in my gashes, but I really might not, because they're not going to fall off. It's not like they're going to break. They go down at an angle, so it's all thick there. But I still have, obviously, you could see it's uneven, so I have sanding to do there and get it all down perfect. But this is going to be way better than this. So I think my 1917 Bowie, which I already freaking love, is going to be loved even more. For any of you who are wondering about what happens when you put new scales on it, what would happen? What would it turn into? It would turn into that. And so far, so good. I can't wait to finish this now. I have to wait till tomorrow to keep working on it. But that looks pretty damn nice, if you ask me. That looks really, really freaking nice. I might do like a nice pale stain after it's sanded. And then the pale stain with the black leather, I think, is going to look super freaking nice. But all in all, that's a much better look than the stock look of the 1917. That is a much, much better look. Can't wait till it's all evened out. I'll be smoking. Once this stuff is hardened, man, happy days. So that's going to be really cool. All right, well, you guys are going to be able to see the finished product. All right, guys. Here it is. The new and improved cold steel 1917 Frontier Bowie. So look at this. Look at the natural colors in here where that knot was. Gave it a little bit of line work just for extra grip. And yeah, today got to rock the Larry Bird 1981 Celtics ring. Woo, it's a big night. So this thing is dope. Look at the look of this. You got to get it in the sun, man. You got to get it in the sun. So I went with two different color stains, and I went with a darker stain to go inside the notches because I wanted to give it just a really cool look on the inside. The wooden pins look really cool in there. I like that. I love the fact that it is now true full tang. I love the fact that it is now an enclosed grip. I'm telling you, this thing came out cool. So if anybody was wondering, well, can you re-grip a 1917 and do something custom? Knocking this down and making it round and giving it the bird's beak here, or the bird's head, that is just super, super nice. I can't get over how great that looks. That was an accident. I had no idea there was a knot in there. Just started grinding down and found it. But it makes, for like, I don't know if you guys are getting it, what I'm seeing, but it's just beautiful, man. It is beautiful. So all I have to do now is blue the edge to make it black again. Does that really matter to me? No, not at all. The knife looks great. It feels really, really good in the hand. With the new handle, I have to say, as far as looks, even performance, I love this knife. But as far as looks, this is definitely grown. It's gone a lot farther, because the one thing that killed me was always that ugly handle, right? And now that ugly handle is gone, there's nothing about this knife that just isn't worth absolutely loving. This thing is so nice. Golly, it feels really, really good in the hand. So yeah, if you had any ideas or you were thinking about possibly doing your own, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's actually kind of easy, and it gets fun once you start really working it. But I want to put it down someplace where there's sun and give you a really, really good look at it. just the angles. Ugh. Because it changes, literally, can't get it, it changes everything. Changes literally everything about this knife. The cool factor has just gone way up. That's doing me no solids. The cool factor has definitely skyrocketed on this thing. Really, really cool. You could do any color you want. You could do any material you want. You could shape it differently. But I'll tell you what, if you decide to take on the task, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. I was worried about the offset and if it was going to be ugly. No, definitely not. It's actually gorgeous. Got my big stone here. The offset looks really, really nice. Everything so far about this thing, it's just beautiful, man. Let's see. Look at this. Ooh, I'm gonna cut open my fingers. Look at that. Tell me if that's just not badass. I mean, it looks phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, let's see. Sunshine really does help. Look at that. All right, so that's it. That's my Cold Steel 1917 Frontier Bowie rehandling project. Nice new grip. And I have to say, this is awesome. For me with such big hands, it's still comfortable, but I can see somebody with smaller hands than myself would grab this and just fall in love with it. Just instant love. Instant. And as goofy as these things might seem, it actually does provide really, really good gripping points as far as slippage. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. This thing is sweet. So after I did my staining, oh, and I did some wood fill right here. After I did my staining, what I did is I took some regular cooking oil. Look at these pins. That's awesome. I took some regular like olive oil type stuff and just really put it into the wood, and it gives it like just a nice look. But it also, once it's all dried and soaked in, it almost creates its own tact. So it gives it just a little bit of sticky feel, and that's what you want. So this thing came out pretty badass. It looks great in the sheath with the light wood rather than that dark wood. I think that just looks so much better. But this thing turned out to be a win. That was pretty sweet. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Until the next project, I am Not to Be All Day. Until next knife.